If we get a green light from you guys to move forward on this project, at that point, either myself or more likely our studio manager will send over an email with what we call your next steps. This basically is some prep homework that we're looking for you and your stakeholders to complete together. Your stakeholders are a group of maybe 3 to 5 people that you trust, that know your heart, that know the organization well, where you're trying to go. One way to quickly imagine who these people might be for you is, let's say I sent over the pitch this afternoon and said, hey, here's your new logo, here's your brand kit, what do you think? And regardless of whether or not you personally loved or hated it, odds are there's some people you're going to check in with before you put it up on the building or go get something printed with it. This could be a spouse, or it could be your design buddy from 3 states over. It could be somebody who's been with you as a part of the organization for a while. And regardless of who those people are, there's no real pedigree or requirements that we're looking for. More that they're people that you trust in your corner. So you get your stakeholders together, and we'll send over some next steps homework. You'll have a couple of links in there. One of them would be a project brief, which is basically a form where you can kind of download and kind of share all the context that maybe we weren't able to cover on our call or email exchanges. A big piece of that is also your inspiration pieces. And we're typically looking for 15 or 20 ideas that will really help let us know kind of what style neighborhood are you already imagining this thing in, which leads into the last bit of prep homework, which would be having the actual mood meeting. And this is a video meeting with me, you, and your project stakeholders. I'll share my screen if I'm the one running it. We'll look at your inspiration pieces together. We may pick out some colors. We may, I may ask some extra questions that the brief didn't cover. Again, we may do some kind of rough concepts live in front of you, but the whole meeting is really chasing what is the personality of your brand and how do we pull pieces that kind of speak that same language. And so by the end of it, I'll kind of show you this thing and say, hey, these are all the things we said yes to. Is this who you are, right? If we throw this stuff in a blender, is that what success looks like? And at that point, you guys say yes, and me and my crew take that back to the kitchen, so to speak, and finish cooking it. And at that point, we will come back to you with what we call your first look. And this is not rough sketches or a whole bunch of options. Oh, pick A, B, C, or D, but it's really aiming at exactly what we talked about in the mood meeting, right? We're not trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat with the presentation. The magic happens in that mood meeting. The shape that takes is we'll present basically a finished brand guide to you. So you'll have your sheet of logos, you'll have colors, you'll have secondary fonts and mock-ups to try this thing on for size. And we really swing for the fences with that first concept, not because we have that much faith in ourselves, but we do in the process. And so there's a lot of times where the first look and the first thing you see back from us, you love it. We prep final files from there. And that's not to say we're geniuses or perfect or anything like that, but really that, we got the right people in the room, we set a clear target, and hopefully we did a good job hitting that. But let's say that's not the case, and you're like, okay, yeah, this is close, but not sure about that salmon color, and could we swap that out for like a dusky orange instead? Here's a few examples, and this one badge is a little too complicated. Could we, just simplify that a little bit? And if it's straightforward changes like that, typically we can hammer those out through email and kind of land the plane that way. But there are some times where you say, hey, Josh, we hate it, right? Maybe you did a bad job listening, or maybe you did exactly what we asked for, but now that we see it, we don't really like it. And anytime we approach that and we say, okay, you guys don't know what success looks like, we don't know what success looks like, at that point we would just ask that we reevaluate the people in the room. Who are the stakeholders? Do we have the right inspiration pieces? Is there any key details that we're missing or forgot, or play a factor there, and kind of reset and re-meet, right? We'll have another mood meeting. And the goal is, again, just to bring everything back to that point of clarity of saying, this is what success looks like. This was wrong, but this is where we want to go. And it's really rare that we go through that exercise multiple times and still just have no idea where to go. Once we get a final approval from you guys, at that point we do final file build out, finish up your brand guide, build out all the logo pieces, and send everything over, and you get to ride off into the sunset and play with your new brand toolbox and start building stuff. But We try to keep this process as clear and efficient as possible, but you still may have some questions. Be happy to answer those for you. Typically, we do that on a quick phone call. You can schedule that at the link below if you haven't already. But thanks again for your time, and I hope we get the chance to work together.